Hello everyone, welcome to Lockbeard Phenomena number 11, Paranormal High Council. Hello Lester, welcome. The other night I heard someone talk a little bit about us. I can't remember exactly in what respect they were referring to, but something that kind of reminded me of this idea that I've been thinking about for a while, that in the paranormal space, who is vetting and authenticating, or at least putting some kind of stamp of approval, some kind of investigation into what claims that are made. There really no one. There's individuals, some channels talk about this and that, but what we got is a recognizable organization, a governmental institution that is looking at claims of individuals and organizations and trying to assess whether or not they are legit, or at least believe they are legit, or making claims that are just completely ridiculous. Have they presented real evidence or not? I feel like we do need something like that. And so when someone I can't remember which channel it was on. It may have been Pat's channel. It may be in something to Sasquatch about. One of the channels that try to keep it real, right? They some of these people that are kind of around these channels and not really on some of the bullshit channels, or the kind of people I have in mind. So I think we should form such an organization, a Paranormal High Council. Maybe these guys meet once a month on a live stream, or maybe they do weekly. I don't know. It's whatever these guys want to do. I don't want to be on it. I just don't know that that's a role that I necessarily need to play myself in all this. So these guys, I think, we could have said Bigfoot, but then it, restricts that from other cryptids, and then we could have said cryptids, but that it restricts that from other paranormal things like UFOs, aliens, ghosts, that kind of thing. So I thought paranormal was probably an appropriate title, a Paranormal High Council. Like we would, as the logical end of the paranormal community, place our trust in this group, and I don't know. Hopefully, oversight of them isn't necessary. Hopefully, when we choose the initial members, that that they're guys that are perfectly capable of supervising themselves. Maybe we, now I don't know. I don't know if this could be something that like a live stream hosted on someone's channel who is already kind of into this end of things. I'm not suggesting my channel. For one, I'm just not even ready to be taking on even one guest, let alone, a group of 3 or more council members. But I think there should be like a host channel where that channel is just the host, right? He's not a member of the council, although he could be, or she. And the channel that comes to mind the most is Pat's channel, but he may not want to take on that. Some other channels may want to. I don't know. I don't want to put anyone on the spot or anything like that. But my initial potential nominations would be, Steenberg, Curious Cryptids Steve, maybe Leon. Maybe start with 3, and maybe some of their first task would be to determine, maybe a couple other members. Maybe we set an upper limit of how many, because it could get kind of, you get too many, it could be chaotic, and you don't have enough. Then you don't have enough minds in the room to really properly assess an individual or an organization where they fit on the bullshit scale. And I'm not saying we call it the bullshit scale. We'll call it something a little more professional than that. I'm, just trying to illustrate what I'm thinking here. But those guys I mentioned, they already meet pretty regularly on live streams anyway. So, what I'm thinking is, maybe they, choose once a month and maybe they, take kind of a survey or a vote from the people. Maybe have a little poll. Say, who do you want us to evaluate this month? If you want us to evaluate, and a certain individual or organization. An organization may take longer to truly properly evaluate, though. So you may want to start out with some individuals, and then they come up with some kind of rating, some kind of grading scale, maybe, and then have this. And then once they've assessed this person, they hold a live stream and they discuss this situation, this person, why they seem legit or not legit, and, assign them like an official Paranormal High Council grade. And then maybe have some kind of document that goes along with that that's available for people to view at all times. Throw it up on iCloud or something like I do with the Paranormal live stream TV guide. So let me jump in the chat, see who all's here. I already said hello to Lester. Brandy's here, of course. Welcome. Thanks for dropping in. Hi, strangeness. Yeah. Something to Sasquatch about's here. Welcome. That's Sean. He says, I love the paranormal, but it's tricky. A lot of hoaxing. Yeah. And that's what I'm talking about. People are out there trying to figure out, what's legit, what's not, and they're going down these crazy rabbit holes. And what if there was this Paranormal High Council, and they could say, look, I've looked at their assessments. There's a history of live stream shows where they presented their assessment, the reasoning behind it, maybe showed some clips or some pictures or something to show the evidence behind why this person is legit or not, or at least seems to, or is trying to keep it legit. If it's someone that's just got stories, well, that's that's going to go into considerations. Someone who has actual evidence, but how much actual evidence we got out there? We got people saying, well, I got this and it's evidence. Well, is it? Personally, I think Meldrum should be probably number one to assess, because we're all placing our confidence in him to adequately and determine that a footprint is created by a real person or thing, right? So I think we need a good solid assessment. Is he legit? Is his assessment of a footprint as real or not? Is it good? Is it something we can trust? So, but I think that this way people, as this grows, if it happens, it's a suggestion I'm making to the paranormal community. Then people will start to hear about this and be able to go and check, documents of previously assessed individuals and determine what they want to listen to or not. If they see that someone has been assessed, I don't know if they may not want to just say, look, this person gets a grade at F and just throw that onto wherever they're keeping the documentation of this stuff. Maybe they want to say person previously assessed and was not granted a grade of A, B, or C, or whatever scale they choose. 90%, 80%, whatever they want to use. This is something they'll probably decide in their earliest meeting as the Paranormal Eye Council. And these meetings would be completely open to everybody. They would do them on a live stream on a host channel. I kind of feel like it needs to not be on the channel of one of the members. It needs to be on a host channel of a non-member. But yeah, let me keep on going through I'm going to fall way behind chat if I don't stick to it. Les says, would need a video, analysts, skeptics, scientific researchers, also true believers in anything paranormal, says Lester. Blockbeard's here, sup? That would be let's see. Hey, Sean, Lester says, hanging in. Good deal. Good to hear. Me too. Internet's been a little spotty today, so hopefully I don't get pixelated or anything. Brandy says, why don't you speak to Pat about this personally? He mentioned wanting to put together. Well, he was saying he wanted to do a non-paranormal live stream with me. I'm not really ready to be able to commit to, because I have these ideas for these things I want to do on my channel as it is, and I can't do them because of the way things are right now. Now, hopefully, as I go forward and making more money going forward, I gotta get a place with some good internet. Relying on Wi-Fi here, and none of these Wi-Fi connections are real solid. So, but But he's wanting to do like a non-paranormal show, which is fine. Which if he don't want to, I kind of get the feeling he doesn't want to do it on his channel from what he was saying. I don't mind doing it on my channel. He said something about maybe creating another channel, but either way, it sounds intriguing. I'm just not prepared to do something like that just yet. As it is, making sure I'm somewhere where there's deep, last Saturday, was it last Saturday? Whenever the Wi-Fi wasn't cooperating, it might have been on for a Lockbeard Random Live, that last Lockbeard Random Live, but yeah, I'm just throwing out this suggestion. It's been something that's been on my mind for a while. We don't have, because some people, where do they go to get some real logical assessments of some of this stuff? There's endless channels where people just say a bunch of crap, and you can sit there and just absorb it all day long. But at the end of the day, a lot of it's just crazy stuff, and there's no evidence to back it up. And I don't know, but it's really tiresome. There's so many channels, and it would be be good to have like some kind of organization, or we could call it our own governmental institution to monitor this kind of stuff and address it. So I don't know. Maybe I don't know. Pat may want to talk about this. Trying to catch it in chat here. The Sailors say, Sean says someone should tell some of these paranormal channels fishing line shimmers. Tell some of these paranormal channel fishing line shimmers. He's saying like someone's using fishing line to conduct the hoax. Possible. Hello, Sandra Piper. Welcome. Nikki's here. Welcome. Harry Man Hoaxes and Hoodwinks on tomorrow night, or at least that's normal time. All the hellos going down up in here. Let me get through these. Evening and see you. Take care, y'all. I'll take it off, Polly. He might do your poetry channel to bore people. Well, yeah, it only bores people that aren't interested in poetry. People that like poetry will not be bored. Sandra says, as soon as you get things together and can do more live streams like with Pat, you will take off with your channel. That'd be cool. I just got to find a way to make this work around my job, which there will be challenges with that and with other things I got to handle in life. But, I got a lot of stuff to do to try and I do want to try and do that, try to get it. It's just YouTube is so hard to deal with these days with all their rules. And remember the days when you could say about anything and they just, they weren't trying to do all their thought control and tell you what to think and what you can and can't see. And I get it. There's some things you don't want on YouTube, right? Dirty stuff, excessively violent stuff, and all that. But yeah, yep. Can you? Brandy says she loves poetry. Used to write a bit. Haven't in a long time, but I have a few notebooks full of my own. Used to write a lot. Been a while since I wrote anything. Mr. Lee's here. Welcome. Welcome to hopefully, I hope, the spark of the Paranormal High Council. So I don't know if those guys would want to commit to something like that, you know. And they seem they're on live streams all the time anyway, talking about these various things, and I don't know. It would give us something to look to for, you know, evaluations of various individuals saying a bunch of stuff as if it was true, and you know, just fooling everybody, fooling some. Some people look at things that are said and they're like, okay, this is just ridiculous. What this guy is saying is ridiculous. Hopefully most people that listened to Dr. Matt Johnson, hopefully most people that listen to him realize, okay, this guy is nuts, or he's just lying for whatever reason to sell something. So I think it would be helpful if people would start to hear about something like this and be able to go to whatever channel host it and be able to find information on a person or an organization, as an assessment of a group of you know, logical thinkers, critical thinkers, or whatever you want to call them, who can assess these people and determine if they give them a grade. So, you know, they'll probably be able to come up with something better than just say B and C, or giving them a percentage or whatever. But it would be nice. It'd be nice to, you know, because you can't go anywhere and get much honesty. You know, there's just no central point, you know. And hopefully this organization would be more trustworthy than our governmental organizations. I mean, you know, the CDC is supposed to be the end-all be-all of facts on diseases. Supposed to be. But you can't. What I've seen, you can't trust them 100%. And so whatever. I mean, but it would be nice. It'd be nice to have something like this where we could go and say, look, you know, heard about this Matt Johnson guy. What does the Paranormal High Council say? The Paranormal High Council says this guy gets an F. He gets an F. What you do? Cheese Freak is here. Did I miss something? Is this Lockbeard or Lostbeard? Oh, you haven't heard, have you? I got a new job, and they require, well, most of their clients require, because we go into different facilities within 600-mile radius, and a lot of those facilities require that you be clean shaven so that you can wear a respirator in case of a gas leak or some kind of atmospheric pollutant. You know, you don't have to wear them all the time. It's just that something could go wrong, and you may need to wear a respirator. So they want everyone clean shaven. So, and it was too good an opportunity for me to turn down. I wish I could, but you know, it was too good. Mr. Lee says, "Who do you trust, and where would you go?" Sounds like that almost sounds like something Kosh would say. If you watch Babylon 5, like, what did he actually say in he'd say all kinds of cryptic stuff like that. Like in the intro for like there was a spin-off series for Babylon 5 called Excalibur, and there's like part, was it in that one? It may have been, who do you trust and who do you serve, or something like that. Sounds like something like that. I mean, there's channels and live streams you can go and you know, they'll talk about different stuff. Kind of, but there isn't like an organized assessment of one individual at a time kind of thing for the most part. Like something that you could really break down. Like if you could go to a channel and it has a Paranormal High Council meeting live stream, and then you can, you know, look for whatever episode where they talked about Matt Johnson, and then see their assessment of Matt Johnson was, you know, how they graded them, and the reasons why, and they could, you know, spend some time just kind of going over why this guy is not someone we consider legit. So, you know, but channels that do cover this kind of stuff and keep things real, you know, like Squatch Talk, like something to Sasquatch about. It seems like some other ones are trying as well. Nikki's channel, Joe's channel, the tall ones. I know I'm missing some, but yeah, still, the beard's still here in spirit. It's, you know, I've kept it for hopefully in the future where, you know, I don't know. When I first was wanting this job, I was thinking I may never leave it, you know. And I hate changing jobs, and I'd rather stay there and master it. And, you know, usually in some jobs that I liked enough that I didn't want to leave the whole damn time, you know, I find ways to do things more and more efficiently, and it just gets where I can do more, accomplish more, and as time goes forward. So, you know, I hate changing jobs, but if I'm going to be required to shave indefinitely, that makes me rethink that, you know, maybe it's 5 years from now, maybe more, where things have changed, or maybe I find another job offer. I don't know. Although I have been trying to get some level of communication with OSHA about the scenario and explain why I think that the way things are right now is wrong and can change and should change. I'm not expecting much out of that, but I'm going to try. I'm going to try and shake that tree. I like to shake trees. Sometimes trees need shook. With Bigfoot before? Well, I mean, hopefully it can go better. I kind of I'd rather see it cover all paranormal subjects, UFOs and ghosts included. So, the three guys I suggested earlier were just kind of, they're more Bigfoot oriented, but so, maybe they would try to look for additional council members who are more into the UFO and spiritual into things. Try to put together a team that can honestly evaluate people and give us a resource out here. So say I come across someone and they're asking me some questions. They're like, "Is this Matt Johnson guy legit?" And I'm like, I'm going to say, well, the Paranormal High Council gave them this grade. You can go see them on this channel, and they meet once a month and have a live stream and then tell them I agree with that assessment, and so I don't know. I think I think we need something. I mean, if it gets polluted with individuals that, it's just like any organization. If you get corruption in there, if someone dropped in and said, "Look, I want the council to give me an A grade, and here's $10,000 for each of you." I mean, do we really believe that? Well, one, are people like that really going to offer that much money? And two, is someone like, Steenberg really going to take a bribe? And if he did, I think we would all sense something was up. We'd be like, he just supported this person in the vote, and I mean, it doesn't make any sense. This person's obviously a hoaxer or a liar or something. Something's up, and it would be exposed. That's why I kind of would want it to be very open. Done in a live stream. There's no closed door meeting going on here where they, assess a person and explain why they chose to grade them the way they did. Yeah, but yeah, I can see how it could turn into a disaster. But those guys have been coming on live streams for quite a while and giving good assessments of stuff. So that's why those are some of the ones that come to the top for me. I don't think it would be a disaster with them because it hasn't been a disaster so far. But we'd have to watch out, hopefully those guys would, when voting on a new member to be added, would be able to suss that out and figure out, okay, this person isn't quite right. And maybe they're not quite right just because, they may not be able to make the commitment, or whatever. Maybe it's not that they're necessarily bad or someone trying to infiltrate the organization for their own goals. But yeah, I think it could work. We just, got to stay on it. Yeah, it could have been. You work in healthcare, so you get it. Brandy says, "Oh, I see disaster, same thing." Falling way behind chat, aren't I? Sasquatch, Wizard, and Darndex. Good evening, Lockbeard, he says, and to everybody else. Yeah, who is we? Mr. Lake says, most of the people were ticked off they weren't on the council. Yeah, and, people need to not be ticked off that they're not on the council. I mean, what do they expect? You that's a red flag right there, that they're ticked that they can't be on the council. You know what I mean? It sounds like it's maybe it is a level of prestige. Maybe it does show that there's some trust from the people out here. But you shouldn't get mad that you're not part of it. You should maybe look at yourself and assess yourself and say, well, why am I not right to be part of this council? What do I need to change or improve? That's a strange thing. Here I am saying I don't want to be on it, and then you're telling me there's going to be these people out here, and I know there's going to be, that are mad that they're not part of it. Which is just if I see someone get mad that they didn't, get accepted as part of the council, I would see that as affirmation, that they were not suited for it. Otherwise, they would not get mad about not getting chosen. They'd be like, okay, I accept that. Lester says, it would be nice to investigate recent videos and counter reports. Yeah. Yeah, and that happens like on a lot of people's live streams anyway, to a certain extent. And darned X is here, the wizard. Sasquatch wizard. Let's see here. Brandy says, well, it has to be people that are able to remain civil and logical. Otherwise, it wouldn't work. But I could see many people getting upset about the reports made. How to successfully navigate it. Yeah. I mean, we already got people mad about some of these channels operating. We can navigate it the same we have. You ignore what the critical people say, and if it's legit, say okay, that they have a legit criticism. But do we stop what we're doing? No. And they may try to get us shut down, but they're already trying to shut us down. That crap that happened on Pat's channel that night. He navigated it all right, but he kept doing what he does. And I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. They can bitch all they want, but liars, cheaters, hoaxers, they don't like being exposed. Well, like I said before, I'm coming for you. You will be exposed. Nikki's coming for you over on her channel too. Except she's probably being nicer about it. And Nikki says, I didn't know most of the people at the time. It was around 2014. Brian Chewy Go Hiking. Hello. Remember Ryan reading? Yeah. I mean, I see it almost kind of forming already, but it's just not official. On Pat's channel with his panels and stuff. So I'm not saying it has to be on Pat's channel, or even that it has to include those same guys that are there pretty regularly. But Curious Cryptid, and his name's Steve, and Steenberg and Leon would make a pretty good core team. And they're on these live streams anyway, assessing this shit. So why not try to do something just that's a little more official, and as far as we're concerned, that produces an assessment that can be recorded for individuals going forward. It's going to take a long time to build up a list, because they really should, even though they know a lot about the people that they've already talked about, they're probably going to need to review stuff and look at what they put out and what they've said, what evidence they were able to produce, if any, and do it in an official manner. Wizard says, I just got back from Whitehall Sasquatch Festival. Me, Joe from Western New York, met Mike at LIB, met Steve Calls, said hello to Paul Bartholomew. Wow, I messed up Paul's last name. Had a great time. Cool. I really love your beaches. Want to shake your tree? Yeah. Is that a spider's web? How's it going? Brandy says, Wizard, glad you had a good time. Yeah, frozen spider web, Mr. Lee. Cool. Lester had there for his avatar. Yeah, it does. Sandra? Going somewhere, Brian. Just not sure where. How you doing? Something is hi, SWA. What we call the picture portal. Danny's here. Welcome. That sounds like something from Germany in the 1940s. What's that? Oh, yeah, I know what you're talking about. The Thule Society. Yeah, they were into some weird stuff back then, man. Brian says, pretty good. Prepping for our next big hike next weekend. Epic views. Danny says, doesn't some famous book say, judge not lest ye be judged yourself? Yeah. But somebody's got to sort stuff out in our society. Otherwise, we just turn loose all the murderers and I'm not even sure if I can say the worse than murderers, and we got to judge some, Oops. Mr. Lee says, how would you assess whether someone was right or not? Well, I mean, you know, you look at someone like Matt Johnson, you tell me, you know, if you describe anything that we have observed any evidence of, like if someone says Sasquatch jumped out of a portal, well, if we knew first that portals existed, I mean, that'd be something, right? But we don't know that. And we also can't provide any solid evidence, at least to the publicly, I mean, or very little really, that Sasquatch is real. So we're getting multiple levels of, you know, there's nothing really supporting different things in this story. And then when you look at how he apparently, according to him, he's the salvation of the last of those people from their planet. Well, if we look at that, okay, Sasquatch is described as something that basically resembles a big hairy human, is what it looks like. The videos that appear to be legit, the footprint evidence, if we accept some of the DNA evidence that shows there's human DNA present, I mean, all these things lead to this thing is a type of human, or at least a type of hominid, which means it's not from another planet. I mean, if you think something that looks that much like a human clearly fits within our evolutionary tree on our planet, it's not an alien. You know, there's nothing to support that it's alien, that it comes from another planet. You know, so someone's got to be able to show something to support some of that nonsense. But, yeah. And he says, I'm capable of deciding whether I want to watch someone or not, and whether I believe them or not. I don't need no more dimtards trying to tell me who to watch. Ridiculous. Oh, well, I mean, you're totally free to do that. I'm just saying, people that are kind of new to it, like they never believed Sasquatch existed or ghosts existed or UFOs existed before, and then they see something, they're trying to figure out, well, what the hell's going on? They jump on the internet and they're going to see all kinds of crazy shit. But hopefully, if something like this were to happen and become pretty well known and shown to be able to support their assessments of things, this person would run into that pretty quick and be able to go and look at their assessment, and then they can judge on that assessment whether they want to accept it or not. It's not like they're being forced to. See, you're referring to, you know, like our government's trying to force us to believe certain things and censoring information and all that stuff. I'm not suggesting any information is being censored here or that people are being forced to do anything. It's just a resource for people that don't know, or maybe they know quite a bit, but they are not familiar with a particular individual, and then they want to go and look, okay, let me see somebody, you know, this Paranormal High Council over here has a track record for logical assessments. Let's see what they have to say, and then I can maybe use that to help me go forward and understand, you know, is this person legit or not? You know, nothing's going to be forced, you know. And if someone doesn't want to listen to anything they have to say, they don't have to. They can just not go to the channel that's hosting Paranormal High Council meetings. So, yeah. Brittany says, yes, we have people mad about certain channels, but those certain channels also have followers that don't care whether or not they've done something wrong. Yeah. Meredith, welcome. Says, Lockbeard, you look very nice without your beard, and best of luck with your new job. Thanks, Meredith. Hello, everyone. I'm painting my nails, so I can't keep texting on my phone. God forbid I forgot my fingernails. Yeah. Nikki says, we were supposed to be a safe place for people to send photos, videos, audio, and be analyzed and critiqued, and nothing was shown to the public. Yeah, see that right there, I don't like that. You know, anytime an organization gets all clandestine and shit, like, meetings should be open. Assessments should be completely, like, straight up on a live stream. You know, unscripted. You know, just, well, I mean, maybe there is some, maybe they do put together a report, and maybe you could call that scripting. But behind closed doors, no, I'm not cool with that. Harryman, I bet you were inundated with video, pictures, audio, and on. How did you cope? Yeah. And the way I'm suggesting it be done, like, that really shouldn't happen, because it would be made clear we're going to assess one individual each month, or organization, or maybe one a week or something. Whatever they decide they want to do. It'd just be something to kind of start to build a resource of assessments that people can go back and, you know, like, read like a document of the assessment that they keep somewhere, like on iCloud or something. Or maybe they choose to just use the live stream as the documentation, and just present their case for why they think this person is legit or not, or just kind of neutral, as in, has, you know, their story isn't so fantastic that it just immediately goes into crazy town, but it also has no evidence. The person could have been mistaken, or whatever. Let's see. Randy says, that's bizarre. Timothy just posted a video of a spider web in the sun. I commented about having a pic of a spider web in the rain. Now we have one in ice, all in the same day. Yeah, we're all caught in one, aren't we? Not really, but the stuff sent in was not good. Who the hell am I looking at? Hey, Tom Paul, welcome. My job made me shave, man. Job made me shaved. It's just too good an opportunity to turn down, and had to do it. And he says, we need to concentrate on proving Bigfoot existence before we worry about where the hell he came from. Wow. Yeah. But, you know, I mean, some people are going to theorize about the origin. I mean, I think that based on what I think is real so far about it, like, I think it's real. I think its basic form is pretty legit. You know, different people describe it in different ways, but I don't think we can take everyone's description as straight up fact or anything, because some people are horrible about describing stuff, or their mind's playing tricks on them. Some of them may be lying. Some of them may have misidentified something. You know, so it's hard to say. But I think the basic form, it looks like an upright, hairy version of a human being, really. You know, that alone pretty much, if we go off the supposition that it's real and that's what it looks like, we're looking at a cousin of humanity. The origin is, it's just another race of humans, or another hominid species, which I reject. It's one of the things that kind of reject in anthropology, that they've designated all these different hominid species. I reject that. I say that I think what the truth is that they were all the same species as us, and that they they were just different races, and it would take too long to kind of go into the reasoning behind that. But that if we were to acquire complete DNA from any of those hominids and to create one, clone one, basically, it would be able to breed freely with any human today. And this is my hypothesis would be the appropriate term for it. But I have some reasoning behind it, just not adequate scientific data. But so whatever, take that for what it's worth. But so I'm just looking at assessing people's accounts, their videos, their stories, their pictures, their audio recordings. People take these audio recordings and claim that they had to be Bigfoot. Well, for the most part, I think you don't know that was Bigfoot. You don't know what that was. And there's people out there just believing it, but they really shouldn't, because until we can regularly and repeatedly observe Sasquatch and observe them vocalizing, we can't say any of this stuff is Sasquatch. So people want to believe it so badly that they let themselves get carried away. Bobby Yance is here. Welcome. Driving to work. Yeah, it's Lockbeard. This release says it's a good idea to go proving. Is it a good idea to go proving Bigfoot's existence? So, yeah, a lot of people are worried about that, but I think it'd be a good idea. If the government wants to keep something a secret, it's a good idea to expose that. Like, why do they want to keep this a secret? Can only be a bad reason. I mean, does anyone have any expectation that the U.S. government would keep this secret for a good reason? Have you not seen their history and what they do? How they lie, the lives that are lost based on their lies? I mean, look into every single war, every one. There's some shenanigans going on that you don't hear about on the news. The politicians don't tell you the truth. It's just full of lies and bullshit and so government keeping Bigfoot secret, it has to be for a bad reason, and that should be exposed. And I think that once they are revealed to the general public to be real, that there will be a massive number of new people stepping up to support their right to exist, their right to have their lands not trashed and taken over by humans. We could, hopefully back off on some of the logging and the urban sprawl and do a little more protection of habitat that they built that's for them. We can officially let people know, say, look, Sasquatch tribes are known to live in this area. If you go into this area, what you need to know. This is how you behave, and if you encounter them, do not shoot at them. Like, these things aren't really being said. Like, you're not supposed to shoot at something you can't identify anyway. But I think there would be some benefit to the government, like, specifically saying, Sasquatch is out here. If you see them, you cannot shoot at them. They will not harm you unless you really screw up, and this is how you don't screw up. I think this needs to be done so we can go forward and live together on this planet without any problems. Thanks, Tom Paul. Get a beard wig. Yeah, just isn't the same though. I mean, I still got my beard because I don't know if you're aware, but I had a dreadlock right here, just one. That's why Lockbeard. Although the word dreadlock is not the appropriate term for it because I'm not Rastafarian, but lock. And anyway, I was on the path of eventually turning the entire thing into dreadlocks. So the good thing about that is if in a few years I change jobs again into one that will allow me to have my beard, my beard can be reattached as dreadlocks. It can't be just as a normal beard, but it can be reattached as dreadlocks, which is something that happens all the time. People will often get sometimes they'll get synthetic dread extensions, but some people get like real hair lock extensions. So that's kind of the plan I'm going off of right now. So I basically wouldn't have lost any growth time for my beard locks when that time comes, other than the time of actually being shaved. So if in 2 years I change jobs and I can grow my beard back, I'll need to grow my beard for about a year, and then I can attach my I don't know, maybe that's 4 years of growth. I'm not really sure, but so I instantly get back 4 years as opposed to having to wait another 4 years to get to that point. So I know it may seem strange to a lot of people, but Danny says, I think some people seen too many movies like Star Wars, Chewbacca crack. I don't think Bigfoot drives a spaceship. Yeah, that's that Matthew Johnson shit right there. Alien Bigfoots. Mr. Lee says, if their existence is proven, what will outcome be? I see nothing but chaos. Well, I mean, with any change, there's going to be some people that freak out, you know. But at this point, the way the world is, everyone's about half freaked over something that they've seen zero proof for. Anyway, so how much worse can it get? How much worse can it get? Parked and safe. Good, Bobby. Good to hear. Bobby says, "Love Lockbeard, love your fresh face." Thank you. Thank you, Bobby. Bobby, what time do you get off work? Randy says, but their behavior can't be guaranteed either. I don't personally believe they are out to cause harm, but that doesn't mean they won't. Yeah, well, and that's brings me to another thing, like, you know, because I think that they are intelligent human beings, they just live primitively. You know, like many human tribes still live just as primitive. They're just not as good at hiding and stuff. So I think that efforts can be made by anthropologists to to establish contact with them and make sure that, and there may be this may be secretly going on behind the scenes, but I want it to be public. You know, that we've established contact with all of the Sasquatch tribes that are out there, and they understand, and it seems to me like that for the most part that they must have some kind of rule in general amongst them all that you don't screw with humans. You screw with humans, and a bunch of humans show up with guns and shit, and somebody in our tribe gets killed. But if we had more official contact with them, you know, so look, you know, we We don't mean you any harm. We want to coexist, but we just need to establish an understanding. Like, we're not going to harm you, you're not going to harm us, and if we encounter each other in the woods, we both just go our separate ways, and everything's going to be cool. You know. But and then maybe in the process we learn some things about them, and have good relations. Hello, Judy. Welcome. Yeah, I mean, there'll be some of that, but sooner or later, it's going to come out one way or another. So I think doing it in an organized fashion, one of these days, some truck driver is going to hit one in the middle of a major freeway or some shit. Something will happen. And then it's just like, without any preparation, they've been exposed. And it's going to happen sooner or later, I think. So, I think it's just better that people that are already aware of the situation are the ones involved with that exposure, rather than one dying on a freeway somewhere. I think that being exposed sooner rather than later is better for them and us. Just because we can get to the business of working on positive relations between the two, and telling people, look, you can't be running out in the woods like jackasses trying to find them. It's just going to create problems. You could get your ass beat if you go out there fucking with them. They don't want to be fucked with, obviously. We already have a little bit of experience with this kind of scenario with uncontacted tribes, down in the Amazon, and where people, like, they're told, we don't contact these tribes, we stay clear of them. It's illegal to go out and try to make contact with them. And then like the Sentinel Island people, who kill anyone that sets foot on the damn island, including a missionary. There was a missionary, like, I think it was on his second attempt to go on the island, when he told him, said, leave, just leave, I can handle it. Like, he so believed he was going to be protected, but his ass got killed. So we have some experience with this kind of thing. There's going to be a few dumbasses. There always will be a few dumbasses, and let Darwin take care of the rest. Wizard says the mitochondrial DNA has shown human mixed with unknown, and has shown Sasquatch has interbred with humans and had viable offspring 14 times. This is factual Sasquatch genome project. Well, there's people out there who refute the validity of that. So, I don't know. The mitochondrial DNA. Now, mitochondrial DNA, it's the DNA that's just in the mitochondria. And a lot of people, I've heard, they've been repeating, oh, they're half human and half, they come from a human female and a human male. That isn't what that means. What that means, it does mean that there had to have been some crossbreeding, some interbreeding at some point in the past. Their nuclear DNA could be 100% Sasquatch, whatever that means. If this study is legit, if they legitimately had Sasquatch DNA and legitimately found mitochondrial DNA, the only thing that's important about it, because people don't understand, people know at least that mitochondrial DNA can only come from the mother. Now, the problem the problem is they're getting it in their head that they're half human if they have mitochondrial DNA. That is not what that means. What it means is a distant ancestor was a human female. Sometime within, if that study was correct, I believe it was haplogroup H mitochondrial DNA they found, which is, as far as science knows now, has existed for something I think about 20 to 25,000 years, which means they are definitely human, and they bred with somebody in the Europe to Middle East region, somewhere in there. Basically, they've bred with Caucasians in the past. And if they all have that DNA, that mitochondrial DNA, then for whatever reason, that was the only females with that mitochondrial DNA managed to survive till today. But the half breeds could have very well just reintegrated with the rest of the population, and generation after generation breeding back in. Genetic recombination starts happening, which the way it works is it starts to remove unsuccessful breeding. I'm trying to word this right, into the population, right? So this is why, like, if you breed goats, you should know, as an example, that they consider, I think it's 30 seconds. It may be 15 16. It kind of depends. If your goat is 30 seconds, let's say you're going for the Boer breed. You've bred your herd up to 30 seconds Boer. And it's 1 30-second as far as just doing the baking math, right? Some other breed of goat. It's considered a full-blood Boer goat because they know that genetic recombination removes the DNA that isn't successfully re-added on a regular basis along the lineage. So anyway, these could be totally full-blood Sasquatch in their nuclear genome, but their mitochondria comes from an ancient Caucasian human, and just got passed down because the mitochondria doesn't go through that same process with the nuclear DNA. It just passes from female to children each generation because it doesn't come from the male, so it can just pass unaltered, unblended, undeleted by genetic recombination. But there's people that are contesting this. There may be some red flags and stuff like that. So I don't know. I still want to see some confirmation. I want to see other new samples found and more testing done, and to confirm that, because there's just not enough to say. There's not enough to say that it's absolutely true. There just isn't. Yeah, that's the plan, Mr. Lee. That's the plan. They don't usually call it weaving, but that's basically what it is. And I have fallen way behind in chat. Wizard says human DNA is on the female side only as of now. Yeah. Yeah, the mitochondrial DNA. But the mitochondria is just a little organelle in the cell. It's not the nuclear DNA. So they're not half female. They're not half human female. Looking for a better bid. Been working nights since 91. Bobby, that's rough. I did it for a bit. Couldn't handle it. I hate sleeping my days away, so I never slept. I think the morals and values are better than ours, in my opinion. Bobby says, Judy, send me some good stuff to listen to help me stay awake. Sasquatch Wizard and Dark. I feel very strongly Sasquatch learned years ago watching the indigenous die from disease brought from Europe. This is my opinion only. Need a job, jump back in a few. Cool. You really think people, Brandy says, you really think people will listen to any rules put in place to protect them? That's like asking people to go searching just to break those rules. So many people nowadays don't have the respect they should. Yeah. I'm just saying it's going to happen anyway, sooner or later. Sooner or later, people, it's going to be exposed. So, you know, we just got to be ready to handle the fallout. You know, whether one of us finds the evidence or just someone hits one with a truck, you know, it's bound to happen sooner or later. And we keep expanding into more and more wilderness. There's more and more people demanding more and more resources and just all kinds of crap going on politically. And it's just sooner or later it's going to happen. It's more about, you know, I don't think it's really so much a debate whether we should. It's what do we do when it happens. And so people like us need to be ready to tell people, say, look, do not go out there. You're an idiot. And leave these people alone. And maybe the government sets stiff enough penalties. You know, I don't know. But I think it's a question of when, not if. And, you know, and those people are probably going to get roughed up or die. You know, because, you know, you're right. There is a degree of uncertainty about what's going to happen. If people keep coming out there and they get fed up, they might start tossing some fuckers around. And they'll deserve it if they were fiddling with them. But if you're someone just walking through and sees them and goes on, I think they're probably pretty safe. If you keep scaring a deer away, you might not. Joe. Yeah, I think Joe definitely messed up somebody's hunt, but that was a good example of they may be mad at you, but they're probably not going to hurt you. Judy says, been keeping up with the new Brian Laundries. Terrible about Gabby. Dumb kids, crazy hunters, people who still don't believe they exist, even if they disclose it, they will be tortured. Yeah. That boy's not in that swamp. Honestly, I wish people would stop making assumptions about the case. Yes, he looks very suspicious, but nobody knows for sure he's guilty. People scare me these days in time. That is why I keep protection close to me. Yeah, be prepared. But protecting the forest people is one of the reasons why I want to own a bunch of land in the future. You know, I'll put me up a fence with no trespassing signs. Whatever the law says I have to make sure people understand they can't go in, and if they do, they're going to get shot. I kind of have a design in mind, and it would incorporate eastern red cedars, because the eastern red cedars, you know, evergreen, and they will mask. They'll create a mask for the property, a visual block. You know, if I know I got Sasquatch out there and I don't want people to see them, then line the entire property with eastern red cedars and to block the view and allow them to be comfortably hidden inside there. No trespassing signs all along, but the fence would be easily jumped over by a Sasquatch, if they wanted to go somewhere else or do whatever they got to do. But that's one of the reasons why I want to own some land, so at least I have a little piece of the world that I can protect their privacy and their right to live, and good population of deer and stuff on there for them to eat. I've never hunted deer. I try to always think about, being ready to do that if I need to survive, but that would mostly be theirs because I want to run some goats out there and stuff like that. I think they would understand the goats are mine, the deer are theirs, and that's cool, No way you might have taken a boat, who knows? People have lost their morals and compassion. It's scary. Yeah, a lot of people have. Hopefully the good people are able to defend ourselves from any craziness that's coming. Court, eh? Yeah, I hate courtrooms. Randy says to Judy, I'm curious if whoever killed the female couple possibly went after Gabby and the boy and he got away, but knew they would suspect him, so now he has to hide until they can prove he's innocent. Get to hear that. Are you okay? It's such a coincidence about 3 women. Yes, that was in gallery, but humans are wicked and evil. Brandy says, but it doesn't make sense that he would return with her van. He had to know that would put a target on his back. There's something bigger we don't know, Judy. Brian, what does that mean for us? And no more camping, no more hiking, close out nature. Oh, I wouldn't think that would happen. I mean, we've been camping all along and seeing the forest people, not me, but other people have been seeing them, and everything's been okay. I just think that it would be better that there's official recognition are out there, and there's officially rules. Like I think was it Washington or Oregon State? It is on the books. It's illegal to shoot at a Sasquatch. And most people just laugh it off. But I think that once Sasquatch is proven to be real, it will also be proven what I think is the case, is that they are human, which means everyone in this country and all countries will know these are people, and if you shoot them, it's murder, and we hold that murderer to the laws that apply to any other human being, which means they go to jail, or in Texas they get shot, executed, or maybe hung, who knows. But that's what I hope to see happen. Like when they are exposed, it's also exposed that they are human beings, which means these are tribes of people, and shooting them is murder, and you will pay the same consequences that you do for killing another human being. So that's the level of protection I'm thinking that they will get above what they have now. Right now, a person goes in the woods and they don't really think that if they have a gun and they think they're going to shoot at one of these Sasquatch that they see, they don't know for a fact that they're going to face any repercussions for it. They don't. But hopefully, post revelation of the Sasquatch, every single person out there is going to know for a fact, if I shoot this person, I'm going to be convicted of murder. And hopefully people are more careful about what they shoot at in general out in the woods. Like, well, because I guarantee you there's some hunters out there shooting at some animals that they're not 100% sure what that animal is. You should never do that. You should know exactly what species you're shooting at before you shoot at it. But people just shooting into the woods willy-nilly, make sure you're shooting at something specific and that you know exactly what it is. Get off the news already. I left that poor girl. Yeah. Bigfoot Anons here. Welcome. Sasquatch, Wizard, and Irondex. In order to get more samples, we'll need to keep boots on the ground and danger close. You need confirmed site of subject and collection of DNA simultaneously to authenticate. Yeah. Connor says, down in Naples, saw the dome, homes, and some native mounds today. Skunk Ape headquarters tomorrow. Pumped. Yeah, he gets around. Brandy says, I just watched your vid from stopping in Georgia before the Squatch out. That was a cool place to hike. Did Monks check those rocks with his magnet? Check the ladies group to connect with Jen and Judy. I tagged you in both posts. Mr. Lee says there are purpose-formed special operations groups that know everything and keep us from the truth and have for years. Well, a lot of people say that. I can we prove that though? Can we prove that? I mean, I knowing our government, it's probably pretty damn certain that that's true. But as far as ultimately proven, I don't think we've actually, truly conclusively proven that that's going on. But Brandy says, I don't know. I don't have a good feeling about proving they exist. Wizard says, Lockbeard, I agree. I feel the evidence is convincing Sasquatch are family-oriented and very much like or are human, and no one should feel right about shooting a Sasquatch. Yeah. Yeah. I would never shoot at them, for sure. There are also groups that were put together specifically to hunt and kill them. Yeah, you're talking about people like, what's that, Swamp Ape Project or whatever. I can't remember the name. They're like down, I think they're based in Louisiana. Definitely didn't like the sound of that. Because they're trying to use the word ape to try and dehumanize them and try to paint them as an animal so it makes them look like they're not doing anything wrong by trying to look for an opportunity to harvest one as if it was a deer or something. Ridiculous bullshit there. Lester says, keep Bigfoot on YouTube where it belongs. Yeah. Brandy says, what's going to happen if someone does shoot and kill one? Okay, there's your specimen. If you can get it out, will that one's tribe come seeking revenge? Very possible. Very possible. So hopefully no one's dumb enough to shoot one. If they don't make it out of the woods, it's their own damn fault. Why the hell did they shoot at something that they know damn good and well is not an established game animal? Now, if they can show that they were in danger, I guess, maybe, but that's the problem. They don't know they didn't know before they went into the woods that these forest people are out there and they won't hurt you in general if you don't mess with them. Just back away and leave, and don't go for your gun or anything like that, and you'll be fine. So I just feel like we would more easily avoid a situation like that if everyone knew before going into the woods that there's Sasquatch in the area, or they could be in this area. And when I see one, I'm to back off. And I'm not to shoot at them. Lester said, yeah, that's it, Lester. Woodett Conservatory. It's funny how, it's conservation. I get it, conservation, totally, but it's a nice, pretty word for, what we're really doing. We're preserving a population of animals so we can go out and shoot some of them. So that's what we're doing, just conservation. I mean, it needs to be done, but not for Sasquatch. I mean, Sasquatch just needs to be left alone and allowed to keep their what territories they have left, and I think give them back more territory. We've taken enough. Humans just take and take. We never stop. We need to give some back. Take these sprawled out cities and condense it into taller structures in the core and find ways and me and every carnivore dietary advocate out there can tell you exactly how to reduce human impact on the environment in the acquisition of our food. And that is to go to an all meat diet. And I don't have time to explain it on here. It's kind of out of the subject. But you require less food if you're eating the appropriate food for the human animal. You're hungry because you keep eating crap that's not really of the proper nutrition you need. Your body keeps asking for more and more because it's like, look, we're not getting what we need up in this bitch. Eat more. And then, of course, in the process of making all those other foods, you're plowing the land. You're completely annihilating an ecosystem to grow one single plant, monocrop out agriculture. Instead of just eating deer, maybe you throw some cows in the field. You don't totally destroy the land that way. There were huge, massive herds of buffalo roaming across these lands. There were mastodons, giant sloths, giant hairy rhinoceros, all kinds of shit that was grazing and living in the natural order. And that's what we need to live off. Stop plowing the damn land. You don't need, for your home garden, you don't need to plow the land over. Again, this isn't the right show to talk about that, but I gardened for like 15 years. I don't really do gardening much anymore, but 15 years without tilling. No till, no plowing. It's not necessary. There's a way to do it without doing that, without destroying the land. But there are too many uncertainties, though, in my opinion. Yeah, there's uncertainties, but I think us talking about this and planning and coming up with ideas of how we handle it when the exposure happens is a good thing, though. And just sooner or later it will be exposed, no matter what we do. I think it's better that people like us are the ones trying to tackle the situation and handle it and prepare for it and say, how do we deal with this when it happens? But the body is what we need to prove their existence, right? See the problem? Yeah. And none of us are going to bring that body. So I think how it's going to happen is there's one going to get killed by one of those idiots you're talking about before exposure, right? Some idiot's going to kill one, or it's going to get hit by a car or something's going to happen where a body gets exposed to a whole bunch of people. I think that's how it's going to go down. Because people like me, I'm probably not going to be the one to find a body. I'm not going to produce a body because I'm not going to shoot at one. This Woodett Conservatory people over here might produce one of these days, and I personally will not be happy about that. I'll be like, you guys are complete assholes for that, because I think they're human, or at least some kind of people. But but aside from the way it happens, I personally would like to see them revealed so that we can get actual law on the books, acknowledging they exist and saying that you can't shoot them. It's murder. Don't kill them. This is where the territories are. You should not go into there unless you're willing to take up the risk. You're taking a risk that you could be killed. Maybe we set a rule like you can't go into the certain areas with a weapon because this is their tribal land and they don't want weapons there, which I'm certain they don't. Just a supposition, but so maybe there would be some additional restriction to where people can go. I don't know. Everything's just Wild West at this point because nobody even really, few people know that they're real at all. So they're going out here with no information, and the possibility of making all kinds of mistakes could happen. They haven't been informed how to deal with them when they see them, and they may get scared and shoot at one when if they knew they were there, they may understand that they shouldn't get scared and they shouldn't shoot at it. So I think we're in a bad situation now that could be improved. Yeah, you'll have some idiots that want to go out there and start shit, but those idiots are going to end up in jail or dead, and they'll sort itself out, I think. Daily Dan says, I always carry a big gun, but I would only fire in self-protection. Yeah. But, here's my question for you. Like the North Sentinel Island, right? We've all been told, don't go there. Those people will fucking kill you. And you go anyway. Like that missionary did. And he died. You know what I mean? It's kind of the same situation. You tell people, no, you don't want to go there. The Sasquatch people don't want you in that area. Maybe it's a core area or something, and then they may expand out of there into a broader region, and then people can go into that. But just tell people, say, look, just don't go too deep in. Maybe we have a boundary set or something. And if you do, you leave your gun behind. Because you don't go in here with a gun in this core area. Something like that, But, and so, they don't force the situation where the Sasquatch is likely to become violent. Wizard says, but there's other beings out there in the woods that aren't Sasquatch. I don't like it, but I can't deny it. A lot of people say that. I just, these other beings are something else I want to explore on here. I want to see evidence of this. And so many people say that these things are out there. And while in the theoretical sense, I know that there's other things out there. Things that we may not even be able to perceive. This being based on knowing how the universe works, and it's hard to explain, but so it's like I don't need to see or believe anyone's stories to know that there are other creatures and things out there, that there could be a million different things out there that we don't normally perceive. But there are people out there making claims that they've seen certain things, and I would like to see evidence of those things. I can't just believe when someone says they seen a puckwudgie. I can't just believe that puckwudgies are real without some kind of evidence, that kind of thing. So the possibilities there, I know. Like I said, I think that there can be all kinds of shit out there. But specifically, when someone says they saw a puckwudgie, well, one, we haven't proven puckwudgies are real. Two, how do you know that was a puckwudgie and not something else that you just think was a puckwudgie? There's so many questions, and no, we don't have adequate information to say anything about what this person's saying. So, and unfortunately for this stuff, yeah, you kind of need a dead specimen or a live specimen to say that something is actually real in a scientific sense. But Brandy says, side note, you didn't want anyone touching your beard. How do you feel about someone pulling your hair? I'd rather they didn't do that either. I'd rather they didn't do that either. Unpredictable, yeah. I'm not saying they should be feared. My concern is what they will do if provoked or existence is disclosed. Maybe they don't want to be found. They don't want to be found, but I'm just saying that eventually they will anyway. And I just think we should be prepared for that. And prepared to try and make our society fit to that desire. Just like the uncontacted tribes in South America will say, look, you're not even allowed to make contact with these people. If you wander into one, you're to turn around and walk out. And that's like the law. Something like that. We respect it's their land. If you see one, you're on their land, period. Even in your backyard, you're to turn around and go back in the house. And we just follow a rule like that, everything will be fine. And you'll have a few idiots, though. I know that, but rake. Drake's here. Welcome. Wizard says, do you think this is why our government designated all these national parks? Did our government already settle a deal with Sasquatch, or simply knew 100 years ago it was the best choice? Some people say that. I don't know that that's the case. Unless the government admits it, but even then they could be lying for all we know. It could be. It's a possibility that it had something to do with it. I'm glad it did it. I think others would come get the body before anything can happen. Maybe. Very possibly. That's why I say if someone does find one, put it on a trailer, pack some ice on it, cover it with a tarp, pull that trailer and right in front of Walmart's entrance door and park it there, and throw that tarp off. See them hide that. See them cover that shit up. I just don't like the government. I mean, part of the deal is I don't like when the government wants to hide something, it's for a bad reason. They have some bad reason for it. Like Mr. Lee bringing up special teams that deal with these things. Maybe they really are trying to wipe them out so they don't have to deal with, recognizing their rights or designating land set aside for them. There could really be some concern from the timber industry and all that shit that this could hurt our profits. Everyone's going to be pissed at us for cutting down Sasquatch native lands. Yeah, you're going to have people pissed off about that. So, stop it. We don't have to cut down as much as we do. I mean, we could roll back. We totally could. Um, Brandy says, was there someone presented me with that exact question a while back, and I must admit it could be, yeah. I'm prepared for their existence to be exposed, but I don't think my neighbor is. Drake says, okay, Brandy, my town was cleaned out by the hurricane, but we're okay. Whoa, bad deal. I don't know why this thing is not working. There it goes. Sorry, Drake. Hope they can get everything back in working order. 3PO can't educate the folks who don't believe. Yeah. Maybe time would be best spent looking for graves instead of nests, ground penetrating radar instead of thermals. Yeah, great. I mean, yeah, people definitely should be doing that. Keep waiting for one of these investigator groups to do just that. I don't know how costly that kind of equipment is, but it's totally an option. Well, Brandy says, well, if you've been warned and you don't heed that warning, that's on you. Yeah. People laugh, though. Wizard says, Brandy, you are correct. They don't want to be found, but Sasquatch don't do diplomacy. Population is growing fast. All mammals turn when starving. They are running out of room. We don't know that they're growing, though. I know there's people out there saying that, but we haven't found one specimen. You in order to know what the population is, you got to find, you got to be able to reliably go out and assess that population by observing the number of individuals out there. We can't do that. So I don't know where the idea that they're growing in numbers coming from. I mean, I know somebody was saying, well, I'm seeing more footprints. Well, that don't mean shit. You're seeing more footprints. That just means you got more hanging out around your area or something like that. It doesn't necessarily mean the population's higher. Maybe there's just some from another area had to move there because they got pushed out by urban sprawl or something. There is not any data hardly at all to prove population one way or another. So I don't know where the idea that they're growing in numbers come from. If anything, they should be decreasing in number because of our activity. Or maybe we see more because we just keep pushing into their last refuges, so we're seeing them more. It's just like a lot of other animals. People may not have seen them very much before because there was more wild areas for those things to hide in, but now that we keep pushing in, we got more roads crisscrossing places. We got foxes living in town. They're starting to get braver about coming around us. I mean, there's so many things that could explain more sightings other than increased population. But people, I don't know why some people have decided they want to believe that they're increasing in population. It doesn't really make a whole lot of sense that they would be increasing in population. They're just being cornered, and maybe they are the ones that are left are running out of resources, or they're being forced to jump in our dumpsters and stuff. And I don't know. There's no real evidence for what their population is or was, or if it's increasing or decreasing. We just don't got that evidence. Let's agree with that to an extent. That also comes back to, will they allow someone to get close enough to examine a grave? Yeah. Well, and would you be allowed to once they are exposed? When it comes to Native Americans, I've talked about before my little issue with that. They have what they call Native Americans Graves Protection and Repatriation Act, which means if you find Indian bones on public land, you are required by law to turn those remains over to the tribe that has claim to those bones. Like, they occupied that area at the time that the body was buried in it, and it morphologically matches with their morphology, right? We probably had something like that. Like, Sasquatch hide their dead. They don't want you to digging up their graves. You're not allowed to, by law, dig up their graves. It'd be the same deal. Eventually, they won't have anywhere to hide. Yeah. Here you go, Lester. I can show you a picture of a little person. Well, I mean, sure, if it's, either the magical kind or whatever, or are you talking about the ones, the one on the stripper pole? It's inevitable, right? We destroy everything. Fires have been out of control. Floods have been insane. It's really only a matter of time. Nick says, Lockbeard says we are eating crap as I order $50 worth of Chinese. Oh, I tore up some Chinese a couple nights ago. And I paid the price, Now, last night I made it a point to have a steak. There were some other stuff with it. I didn't stick to the plan, but hopefully when I go on jobs on the road, like, we'll be in places sometimes where there's really not a lot of, like, it's kind of remote in some cases, and so my plan is just to take a cooler and ice down some steaks and just not put anything else in there. About a pound of meat is all I need to eat a day. If I'm just eating meat, so I'm good. If I eat carbs and stuff, it messes up my digestion. It makes me feel sluggish. It's energy's jacked, and I don't know, can't think straight. Like, because blood sugar, like, my blood sugar does weird stuff when I eat a bunch of carbs, and it gets down. And, well, the lowest reading I've had in the past was like 53. Which apparently is flirting with brain damage. May have been what happened to me. Wizard says, I have footage of 2 gray faces filmed 9/11, 7 failed attempts to upload this footage. I'm trying again now. I cannot explain what or who these faces are. Their eyes blink and the mouth moves. So, did they look like grays, as in gray aliens, or gray Sasquatch, or gray something else, or Hairy Man? Ever try keto? Yeah. Listen to Mr. Lee. I think everyone that goes to keto should take it to the next step and go fully carnivorous. And like once or twice a year, you can have some fruit, but just be aware that you're gonna feel it when you don't eat carbs for a while, and then you eat carbs. You'll feel like really, really good sometimes because you just dosed up on something that makes you feel good. But don't let that. It's addictive though. In nature, you would just have to deal with the fact that you can only find fruit for a short period of time on the tree, and then it was all gone. In our society, you can get it all the time, along with processed carbs. And so that's why people get addicted to carbs, and it's hard to put down. It's more addictive than cocaine. Now, that's one of the things our government has failed to tell us, that this crap is an addictive drug for us, because we are geared to seek out fruit whenever we can in the wild situation, but we're no longer in the wild. And we have these souped up versions of fruit. We have sugar, like we've processed out sugar, and we process down grain, and we put them together and make donuts and cakes and shit, and we really screwed ourselves. you know, we need to stop. And people need to not give that shit to Sasquatch. The Chinese go girl. Mr. Brandon says, Mr. Lee, intro into keto hasn't gone well. I get too hungry around 2 p.m. and black coffee sucks. You gotta take it easy. You know, ease into it. Like, some people might do keto for, you know, so many days, and then they'll have like a cheat day. Or maybe they start with 2 cheat days a week, and then they eventually ease it down. And, you know, ease down your carbs and try to clean up what kind of carbs you're eating. You know, instead of a donut, have a fruit. You know, and you got to ease into it. Your body's gonna react. You're essentially gonna have drug withdrawals. So ease into it. You might try some fasting, like try to like skip breakfast if you don't already. And if you can't just skip breakfast, maybe if you always have it at 6, push it off to 7 for a couple weeks, and then push it off to 8, and then push it off to 9, and then maybe you have to eat a smaller lunch because you ate at 9, and then eventually get it pushed up to where you're not even eating breakfast anymore and you're just eating lunch, and then do the same thing with lunch. You got to ease into that because your body's going to keep sending this hunger message because it expects to eat at the same time every day. It anticipates. It has this clock going on it, so it sends a hunger response. But I'm doing my research. Good. The powers of will never attract, no matter whether a body is set before their eyes or not. Their careers are more important to them than the truth. Yes, that is true. Guess Bigfoot Habitat has taken big hits this week with all those fires out there out in the west. Yeah. They've been mismanaging, man. You got these people trying to say, oh, you can't do controlled burns. Controlled burns are bad. Well, controlled burns prevent as much damage to the forest occurring when a wildfire does come through. Like, I thought this lesson was learned decades ago, you know, where, you know, because you have fires happen naturally. Lightning hits, it burns out the debris on the forest floor. And if it does that on a regular basis, it's a less intense fire, right? But if you stop all the fires, like every time you see a fire, you put it out. Well, that dead material builds up on the forest floor, and then one day it starts, and you can't put it out because it's too dry and there's too much fuel on the ground, and it kills all the trees. Because you thought you were protecting the forest when you should have just left shit alone. Nature deals with this. There's plants out there that are specifically pyrophytic. They rely on fire for their proper survival. The Great Plains can only exist because fire comes through. Otherwise, trees grow in, right? And it turns into forest. The plains, the prairie, is maintained as prairie because fire comes through. That's why a lot of those prairie grasses are pyrophytes. They require that a fire comes through and burns everything off the surface. And then the root system grows back. And you have prairie. And all the species that live there rely on that. They need fire. There's like a species of pine tree that it needs fire to make the pine cone open up to release the seeds. You gotta let it burn or do controlled burns if you're worried about, making sure it doesn't, burn something you don't want burned, like somebody's house or something. But you got like these group, I can't remember who it was. They were like, they didn't want them doing controlled burns. They're like, it's just bad. Why are you burning things? To make it where a wildfire will be less intense later and not kill all the live trees. Because usually it'll just burn around at the base, and the fire won't be intense to catch the live trees on fire or kill them. He believes these other channels. I believe some of these channels are paid by the government to feed us false info and keep us stuck, never learning more. Yeah, I definitely think that. I thought it had to be black coal. Yeah, you can put butter in it. Butter's straight up keto. And if you're not eating carbs, you can eat all the butter you want. You'll be fine. The worst thing you can do is throw carbs together with fats. Because fats won't make you fat. Carbs will make you fat. Like carbs tell your body they put you in fat storage mode. Hormonally, they put you in fat storage mode. So if you eat carbs, it's going to make your body want to put on fat or at least retain fat instead of losing weight. If you throw a bunch of butter in there with those carbs, well, there's more fat to store. So you're just going to store this as fat. But you can eat all the fat you want if you're not eating carbs. Your body's not in the mode of storing fat. It doesn't need it. You're doing fine. And like I told the story about me eating a stick of butter every day in front of my coworkers to prove to them that it wasn't going to cause high cholesterol, and it did not. We had health assessments to prove it, and they wouldn't believe me. And and I was actually losing weight during that time. And people been like, because they were lied to that fat was what was making people fat. It wasn't the fat. It was the carbs. And there was a whole conspiracy that was pretty much going on, sugar industry and all that stuff. Somebody did like a documentary. I think it was called The Big Fat Lie, or A Big Fat Lie, that kind of covers that. I forget that lady's name, talking about that conspiracy to demonize fat instead of sugar for making people overweight. Brandy says, I have no idea why my software, or Wizard says it, Brandy, I have no idea why my software will not let this upload. I'm about to use my phone to video the video I built showing these faces. Currently it says save 37%, but it fails before 70%. I don't know. Why can't we obtain gold here in New York if you find it in a creek? We can't even obtain gold here in New York if you find it in a creek. You're not allowed to keep gold if you find it in a creek? What kind of asshole government do you have in New York? That should be totally yours. Dude, take it and just don't tell them. It's none of their goddamn business. David Amblock says, maybe they finally eat their dead. They ritually eat their dead, and that's why you never find a body. Yeah, totally an option. A lot of people find it hard to believe. There are humans that, I don't know if any are still doing it because they've been forced by Western culture to stop eating each other, but they eat their dead. So it's not the least bit far-fetched that Sasquatch may do that as a means of hiding their bodies. And being intelligent and realizing how important it is to hide from us, they may even go a step further and grind the bones with stones into dust and maybe throw them in a river or something. They're totally seem to be intelligent enough to thoroughly hide a body like that. And it's not far-fetched that they would eat their dead at all. Very clear, not blur in sight. Chinese is not keto, Lockbeard. No, it's not, Mr. Lee. I know. I saw this place. Let me tell you about this place, Mr. Lee. I saw this place and I was craving some Chinese. So I'm walking the door thinking I'm going to sit down and eat some, because I've been to some other buffets recently and everything's been fine, and they don't, they'll have a little sign that says, please wear gloves if you get the food, but I don't wear the gloves, and they don't make anyone else wear the gloves. Fuck them and their gloves and their freaking 2020 fraud virus bullshit. Well, I walk into this place and I about walk into a sheet of plastic. They got like a 4 by 4 foot area around that door completely taped up with duct tape and plastic, and have like a table that's all duct taped around it with the plastic, and they got like a flap where they can lift it up and take your card and slip your food underneath it. I mean, they are in full lockdown up in this restaurant. It was ridiculous. If them damn rice noodles weren't so good, I probably would never go back in there again. Then that's something I've considered. I think many have, yes. And I agree. I saw a documentary about these people in Tibet that leave the bodies of their dead on a mountain, and then when the buzzards clean the bones, they collect them. Yeah. There's all kinds of cultures that with humans. I don't know why people would think it was out of the question for Sasquatch. Why is it so far-fetched? It's not. It's just that our culture has a different extreme of existence. We think we're like normal. We're actually kind of extreme about some shit. In the broad, if you study enough cultures and enough cultures through history, you'll figure out we are not the norm. We just dominate half the planet right now. And we think we got the best way figured out for everything. And I'm here to tell you we probably do not. But then they grind up the bones to powder and mix it with water and drink it. Yeah, totally. Why not? I mean, it's gross in our culture because we've been taught to be reviled, to be repulsed by cannibalism. But what other way to better retain the nutrients, important, minerals and stuff? But also, they're probably going to acquire some of the memory of their ancestors from that. They would actually be better off to eat the entire body to do that. You can absolutely acquire some of the memory from that person by consuming them. And I've kind of talked about that a little bit in the past, but I know it seems crazy, it seems nuts, but there's science to back this shit up. The world is weird. Yeah, you trying to tell us something, Mr. Lee? Lockbeard, the smaller face looks kind of like a baby fox, but the bigger face looks like an ape, but also like a Sasquatch, kind of. I think I'm confusing keto with intermittent fasting. Yeah. But people should do both. Once you go keto, and especially once you go fully carnivore, you will be able to fast easier because your carbs create a hunger response. They make you more hungry than you should be in a natural condition. In nature, when you found fruit, you wanted it really bad. That's why we had the sweet tooth, and you would eat it, and then the carbs in it would make you want to eat more, and you would just eat and eat and eat until you ate all the fruit. And that's part of the design. It's where that's when we put on some fat in a natural setting. So once you eat carbs, it's kind of like that. Was it Lay's? The commercials used to say you can't eat just one. It's kind of true because your hormones are telling you you're hungry. Because hunger is a hormonal thing. It isn't about how full your tank it is. It has almost nothing to do with that. It has to do with hormonal responses to what you've been doing and what you've been eating, and so you should definitely be trying to do both, and eventually do like I typically eat once a day. And I've been trying to scoot it back up into dinner time because I don't want to eat during the day, and I don't want to drink either because I don't want to have to go to the bathroom, especially on this job. If I'm going to be getting up on a stack and I'm, be up on this route. Now, I might have to drink water if it's really hot and we're sweating. I might have to drink water in those circumstances. But in the wintertime, I shouldn't need to drink any water all day long until I leave work. And I've done that before. 11-hour shift, as long as I'm not out in the heat and stuff, no food, no water till after work. It's totally doable. It sounds like a lot of people are like, I don't want to do that, but it makes life so much easier in some regards. Like you're not wasting time, you're not having to go to the bathroom. It just, I'm happy with the results, and you feel better, and you don't get drowsy. That after lunch you get drowsy, and I only eat once a day. It's usually very very rare that I have more than one meal. So you're already intermittent fasting. So now you just got to get rid of the carb addiction. Nikki, are you still in chat? I can't get on to your live chat unless I verify my age. Google tells me I need a driving license to verify it. What? I don't know what the hell that's about. Mr. Lee, that's nuts. I've never had an issue. Been there for everyone so far. Science dude. Yeah, Nikki's still here. My chop suey is here. Uh-oh. Lester says, I'm a bear. I put it on for my winter hibernation. Yep, can't get in Nikki's live chat. Create a Gmail account. What live chat? It's a Gmail account? Hey man, your live is age restricted, I've been told. What? You've synced your YouTube also. Problem solved then. Mr. Lee says, I went to a Thai restaurant last night. They have a machine to check your temperature before you enter, and you have to register your name and address for virus tracking. Yeah, that's insane. Are they checking your temperature rectally? Hiveless, yeah, it's doing all right. It's all right. Got my first 3 days in, and the training's coming along. It's going to go on. Well, there's a lot to learn for this job, which is why they're really leery about, they're really picky about who they pick, because there's so much company time and resources put into getting a person trained up to do this. They don't want to waste that, and they have too many people end up quitting. So it's going to be a long road for training and learning stuff, but let me see here. Let me check and see if is Central Florida Bigfoot coming on. It says premiering now, not live now. Is he showing a Weeden Island Preserve, St. Petersburg, Florida? So I guess he's showing himself in a kayak. You guys heading over there, or you want to hang on here a little bit longer? Hiveless says Hitman training is intense for sure. Hitman training? No, I'm not going to be a hitman. I don't want to delete anybody if I can help it. I won't even delete Sasquatch. I don't want to delete another person. Even when Mr. Lee was trying to tell me I should behead people in the micronation, I was like, no, we pretty much don't have a death penalty at all, because any leader, any governmental organization, any court, any jury can make a mistake. And it's a horrifying prospect that if I was to ever judge someone for murder, or some other horrible crime, and give them the death penalty and then find out later I was wrong, I wouldn't want that I wouldn't want that. That would be horrible. And essentially, I would be guilty of murder myself, wouldn't I? You know, that's the thing. You know, when the government makes these mistakes, does anyone get held accountable? Like, you murdered an innocent person if you executed them. If you put them in jail for 20 years and then found out later they were innocent, which has happened, did anyone get held accountable for that? You know? No, they just kind of let them go. Well, sorry about that. Try to have the nice rest of your life. Your entire youth was lost, but too fucking bad. You staying here? Yeah, a lot of people aren't interested in the kayak thing. I need to get me a kayak. But it's not a real pressing matter right now. Mr. Lee says, no, rectal. Don't think that's standard procedure. I'd never eat out again. Yeah. It's crazy. Like, I've been to a number of different Chinese buffets during this crazy time that there was no restrictions like that. This is the first time I run into a Chinese restaurant that was like that. It was insane. I mean, I almost turned around and left, but I was hungry. And had my mind set on some Chinese food. So I figured, well, I'll just eat it in the van and go find some Wi-Fi and do that. It was good food. Like their rice noodles was perfect rice noodles. Totally not keto, and it's not something I'm going to do too much, but since I fast every day for 23 hours and I wait till the end of the day to eat that, then I'm okay. Like, I'll fall asleep, and I did fall asleep when I ate that. I'm looking forward to past 12-hour live. Yeah, it's going to be wild. Wonder how he's going to weather that. His hair will be all sticking in different directions and be pulling it. Ah! What's his sub goal? He's got a sub goal. We should race him. Lockbeard channel should race him. Like, what's he trying to get to? 1,000? Will he talk about something he hasn't 20 times before? Who, Pat? Hiva says, you have elven features that the face hair disguise. Kind of like, well, thank you, man. I think that was a compliment. Not in a gay way. I don't mind. Gay or not, it's okay. Mr. Lee says, England is in uproar again. Apparently there's no petrol or bog paper again. Silly fools. Man, if there's no petrol, it's by design. They orchestrate all that shit, man. There's plenty of oil. There's plenty of oil. They try to act like, especially now, like with the fracking and stuff, which I know people are like, oh, fracking's horrible. You're probably causing earthquakes. Well, listen. I mean, I minored in geology in college, so I think I can say that I know more than the average person out there freaking out about fracking. Just don't worry. Don't worry about it too much. There's potential problems for certain things, sure, but look. I mean, how to do this without a huge discussion on plate tectonics and how earthquakes happen, and it doesn't happen because somebody cracks some goddamn rock layers. It does. That's not how it happens. It's a more global function taking place there. Now, could you possibly end up with some natural gas in your water well? Sure, that could happen in some cases, I think. But there's a lot of people who have natural gas coming out of their water anyway. They can actually light their spigot on fire. There's so much coming out of it. Yeah, I mean, that'd be cool. That'd be cool if he can get monetized. Should we try to race him there? You guys go share the shit out of the channel. Get some subs up in this bitch. I seem to be stalled out at where's that damn thing at? I got to reload it because I had to restart. A while ago, this thing wouldn't work at all because it like little update icon had gone from yellow to red, and a lot of times when that happens, stuff stops working. It starts refusing to function. So like StreamYard was just kept failing on me. Yeah, I've been stalled out around 112, 113 for quite a while. Like one will come up and then it'll go off and it'll come down. 112, 113. And it just kind of been staying there. I got a nice level graph going on up in this damn thing. Actually, I could probably I can show you. I could probably show that to you. Let me pull it up. This is what I was mentioning to Pat the other night, that maybe he should show this at least sometimes during his 12-hour live stream. This is on your analytics on YouTube, and it updates in real time. So like if somebody subscribes right now, it should show it go up to 114. But so unless he has some other way to show that, but he ought to put that up there to show his progress during that 12-hour live stream, or pop it up every so often, you know. Harvest says, I agree, Lester. There's a video on how you can advertise on Reddit, Google, and get 10,000 subs in 4 days with no videos. What? How's that work? Why would anyone sub to you with no videos? Or is there like a co-op or something, or a freaking union or something? A bunch of small channels that sub to each other to artificially swallow their numbers. It's amazing how we went from supplying the world to buying from Russia. Yeah. Yeah, right now the oil situation in the U.S. is we don't need any outside oil. They're going to try and act like, oh, we need to preserve our reserves so we always have it for the future, blah, blah, blah. No, we don't. We do not need any outside oil. Then, of course, the pipeline thing, I guess they shut down the oil sands, I forget what they call it. After all that work that went into, setting that whole, that was an ordeal to set that pipeline up. And now we're shutting the operation down. I really didn't think they should have done it in the first place, because whatever, anyway, we didn't need to do that. But they did it. And so now that we put so much resources into it, so much energy and money into it, we need to just go ahead and use the damn thing. 1,000, you meant, not 10,000? Michelle says all the big supermarkets in London has petrol stations. People queuing. Enjoy the ride. Lester says, do a Bigfoot stream and post it a day early. I will share to Bigfoot groups for you. Well, I mean, we talk about Bigfoot almost every episode of Lockbeard Phenomena. I mean, one of those, I guess. But you're talking about trying to get them in actually live in the chat.
Okay, guys. So here we
I mean, I could tell you. I mean, like Lockbeard Phenomenon is on every Saturday at 6.
I took my reflector for my car because I don't have an umbrella with me.
I just don't usually have it.
Light it up. You know, we take a reflector.
You know, set up on Phenomena where there's something you can, like where you can actually link directly to that live stream. But I mean, I probably need to try and get it set up earlier. Because like tonight, I got it like an hour. I got it set up an hour before the live stream was supposed to start.
I got bug spray underneath that might roll a little bit.
Find the vid, it's interesting. What vid?
Here's my high-end Lumix. It's in the dry bag. It's going to ride right there. My dry box, as I said, anchored in.
And it's on Reddit or Google. Reddit/Google.
I can't get that open. Hold on.
Danny says he hears voices.
Car keys and business cards and batteries and basic little first aid kit.
What time is 6 in the UK? Well, if it's 6 p.m. in the UK, then it's or you mean what time? 6 Central my time is midnight in the UK. So, you know, like you should be 2:27 in the morning right now, right? Is that correct? Posted a day early. I'll try next week to get it set up earlier. It's CFB. Oh, do you hear? Is CFB coming through on my? Because I can hear it on my headphones. I forgot I still had that rolling in the background over here. Are you hearing it? Were you hearing that? I turned it off. It's called something like 1,000 subs in 4 days. I don't know. That sounds crazy. I hope they just gain subs just because people like the channel. Yeah. You guys are 6 hours ahead of me. 6 hours ahead of me. Because right now it's 8:27 p.m. or 8:29 now. You shouldn't hear it now because I turned it off. If it was coming from me, I couldn't hear it because it was on the headphones. The headphones are plugged in because I'm using the microphone from the headphones, which seems to have better sound, I think. But Danny was watching CFB on the other phone going down a river with my sound off. So is he just doing a kayak episode? You were there too. I would like to get you, SW, or you, Sean, and Nikki and Joe to 1,000. That'd be awesome. you know, I don't know what that means for monetization. What does 1,000 sub channel, you know, bring? Um, but I hope to one day be able to do some pretty cool stuff with the channel. Set up a I mean, I want to do like I said, like a one-on-one interview type show. That's not phenomena though, but it would sometimes address that. But a lot of similar type guests is what Joe Rogan had, but not so much of the MMA type stuff though. But he had like a separate show really for MMA. But occasionally he'd have MMA guests on Joe Rogan Experience. But we kind of lost Joe Rogan Experience out here in the interwebs. He's still there, but he sold out to Spotify, who then censored some of his old stuff. Like he took everything off YouTube, and then we were told that there would be no censorship, but there was. So like the episodes that had file not found right now. What's his name? Alex Jones. I probably just tripped the algorithm just for saying the name Alex Jones, right? Who had some crazy shit to say, but I know some of the shit that he said was true. The other stuff I don't know, and some of it sounded so crazy I don't think it's true at all, but he definitely said some stuff that people need to hear. And anyway, Joe Rogan likes him and had him on as a guest, and Spotify pushed, I guess that for those episodes to be suppressed. They couldn't stop Joe Rogan by, like YouTube couldn't just shut him down because he was too big. He was too big to take down, and just by shutting down his channel. So they had to buy him out, and he took it. He took $100 million, and man, sold out. Man, if he was scraping to get by, I could almost forgive that, right? But the dude is rich. By any standard, he was already rich. How much money do you fucking need, dude? Your fans are what put you where you are, and you sold them out. So I don't know how many fans he lost. I don't know how much less his viewership is, but he deserves every last viewer, in my opinion. So I would like to do something similar to that and talk to some of the same people about the same subjects that he was covering, which is why I was watching his show in the first place. Like, I would totally like to talk to Wim Hof, or McKenna. Definitely Paul Stamets, all these people that brought me to his show. Jordan Peterson. Hell, even Alex Jones, if I could get away with it. If nothing else, for fun. So if it grew enough and got, started getting those guests and that viewership, and we could walk that fine line that YouTube puts us on, where we got to be careful what we say and what subjects we talk about, and and get to where we can have some of those higher profile guests one day, like Joe Rogan got to talk to some people that he probably wouldn't have gotten to talk to when he was just a small YouTube channel. Like Dan Aykroyd, that was a cool episode. Sitting there drinking that Skull vodka. But Dan Aykroyd's into UFOs and stuff, so they talked UFOs. And yeah, it was me. Yeah, I didn't even know y'all could hear that. I couldn't hear it. You can get promoted to suggested video section. Yeah, that'd be cool. I know they're suppressing me. They definitely suppressed one of my videos. Like, it's still on YouTube, but you can't find it. If I beat you, if I beat you to 1,000 subs, you can have the mate. Why? Why don't you want your subs? Danny says, on the Daily Dan blog, I have 4.8K. I get about 150 every 3 months on Danny's World. I have 26K on Danny's World. I had 26K. I get about 1,400 every 3 months. Shoot, I've pretty much been living on about that much lately. You know, van life can be real cheap. Like some days I was just like, I got a deal on some rolls of sausage, and they're about £1 each. And like I said, a pound of meat, and I'm good for the day. And they're like 88 cents. So I was eating 88 cents eating 88 cents a day some days. It's pretty cheap. Mr. Lee says, Lockbeard, got to get better internet panel participation. Yeah, definitely. That's one of the things that got to get straightened out. And like you said, some kind of studio, you know, like I'm just using the camera on my laptop up in this bitch and sitting in my van. And so gotta get something set up with some solid internet. Definitely. Because this is, you know, tried to jump on two shows and neither one of them worked worth a damn. I couldn't talk. So yeah, you're right, gotta fix that. Lester says Joe Rogan did beat the censorship and all vids were available now on Spotify now. Did they put not Dan Aykroyd, but the Alex Jones videos up? Did they actually do that? Because I stopped following the whole damn thing. I was so pissed about it. I was done. I'm done. I haven't seen Joe Rogan's show since he went to Spotify. You agree, Mr. Lee? Get me on. You like Rogan? Yeah, I used to watch him pretty often, unless if he had a guest I didn't care about, like a lot of times I wouldn't watch it, but all those good ones, so many good ones and good subjects. But I was kind of angry at him about like people that have been excluded, but I'll leave that alone right now. Well, I don't know if he was actively excluding certain people, but yeah, just whatever. It just sometimes it was the wrong selection of guests for the subject. I guess I'll put it that way. Danny says, I wouldn't say famous, but I'm popular with the ladies. 78% of my subscribers are female. Oh, that's hilarious. I'm like the opposite of that. Like most are male. So I don't know what that means. Lester says Spotify is full of SJWs. Won't use it myself. Yeah. Yeah, there was a whole thing with their staff protesting Joe, the whole deal with Joe Rogan, and Spotify was bending to their will, and yeah. You bend to their will, then they'll be bitching about something else and make you bend some more, and then they'll bitch about something. Every time they get an inch, they take a mile. So don't even give them the first inch. You don't give SJWs 1 inch. And that applies to everything, folks. Toe Rogan. Yeah, Hiveless. Dang, Danny said, give me women subs, please. You want the women subs? It's off now. So, yeah. I guess we're skipping CFB tonight. But I guess he was doing wasn't doing like a normal live show. He was doing a kayak video, I guess. This release is Dan, you're a sexy man. I find it hard to control myself around you, and I'm a fella. Whoa. Bigfoot Anon says Mo. I don't know if he's joking, man. Neither does Hypus. Shit. Lester says I eat cheap, also save my money for beer. Yeah. Yeah, if I get some property again and I can put in a meat locker and hang up a goat every so often, eat real cheap then. Like the area I'm looking at, it's like all rocky, hilly terrain. It's like not suitable really for cattle, and it would be difficult to try to build there. I think that's why they haven't really built into that area. But it's perfect for goats. Goats would be like, this shit's awesome. Be goat Eden. So I'm kind of hoping I can get that land at some point here in the next. It might be a year from now when I can do that. It's not for sale though, but I'm hoping the guy is motivated to sell because he really can't do anything else with it. And then yeah, so then run some goats on it, and I mean goats good eating, and it looks like it could be pretty nice area for Sasquatch to hang, so there might be some Sasquatch hanging out there. And you know what they say about rocks and other types of entities, there could be some other shit going on out there. I don't know. It's not near as remote as what I want, but it's kind of what I have to. It's kind of what I have to deal with in order to be close enough to where I work. It's the best option to be close to where I work, where I don't have a long drive, and it's close to the Arkansas River. So, theoretically, there's going to be Sasquatch moving along that river corridor if they're not just there all the time. So it might be a good place to, potentially see something or find some evidence. Then he says, I donate everything I make on YouTube to Shriners Hospital for Children. That's cool, man. Yep. Nikki says, can I unsubscribe and then resubscribe to see it move? Yeah, you can do what you want. It's your subscription. I don't own it. You own that one. It's all you. It's all you. I don't think it really matters, you know. Basically, if you're just going to unsubscribe and then resubscribe, you might have done it already, and I wasn't watching. I forgot that thing was up there. He's generous too, Mr. Lee. Dan, that's good, man. Mr. Lee says a meat locker. What's a meat locker? Well, a walk-in refrigerator is what I mean. If you're going to have livestock, you know, especially if you want to be sustainable, you kind of need to have a refrigerated like room where you can hang the carcass and age it. Like you want to hang it for at cool temperatures, but allow it to start to basically it's rotting. But you ever had like an aged steak? Like they say they aged it for 30 days or sometimes longer. It's because they hung it and purposely left it to begin to break down the microbial activity taking place and makes for a better tasting, more nutritious, more tender meat. And I think the reason why people like this, it goes back to like our evolutionary origins where, we didn't have any way of storing food really. And a lot of times we were like stealing the kills of other animals. So it had been laying around for a while anyway. It started to decompose. And whenever we started killing our own stuff, a lot of times we'd be just, like if we killed a mastodon, what were they going to do with a mastodon other than just camp out around it, try to protect it from other predators trying to steal it, and eat on it while it started to slowly decompose? But they were eating decomposing meat most of the time. And a lot of people are like, oh, fire is what really opened it. No, fire didn't. The fire was probably like somebody didn't say one day, so, well, I saw lightning start a fire. So what we should do is figure out how to make fire and then cook our meat. Like no one would have had that thought. But what they would have possibly known is like animals would avoid fire. Predators would avoid fire. So controlling fire, that might have entered into their thought process. The idea of cooking, like nobody had ever cooked anything before. Who heard of this shit? No other animal on the planet cooks its goddamn food. They didn't create fire to cook shit. And then they may have also, and probably the most primary thing is like, oh, we can keep warm with this. Or maybe the shaman thought this, well, we're going to use fire we're going to figure out fire and it's going to make us look like we're magical and powerful beings. We can make fire. I mean, it probably started out as something that stupid for all we know. But cooking was probably something that just came by accident. Somebody just started doing it and like accidentally cooked some meat, had it too close to the fire, just trying to protect it from something eating it or trying to steal it. I mean, eventually they would have figured out, well, we can dry the meat with fire and preserve it longer and stuff like that. But anyway, you want to take your cow or your goat or your sheep and hang it up in a cool room. It doesn't have to be quite as cold as a typical refrigerator, but it needs to be cool and let it begin to age. And then it'd be better for you. You'll feel a lot better if you eat nothing but that aged meat for a month. You'll if you don't notice the difference, there's something wrong with you. You'll feel better. Lester says, Janice Carter says, Bigfoot hate goats, be careful. Well, I mean, it's just a claim. What evidence does Janice Carter have for that? I mean, what does she mean by they hate him? That they avoid him or they like to kill him because they suck ass? I mean, goats Goats can be annoying to some people, I'm sure, but they're good eating. Just make sure you build a proper fence for them, and they'll stay in. Small holes. Don't put cattle panels up because they'll get their head stuck in it. Or some of those, anything, if it has too big of a hole in it, you want smaller holes. Mr. Lee says, I've spit roasted a few pigs. The longest one took 13 hours. The Charles like goats. Lester says, Mr. Lee, not true. I've never eaten goat. And Mr. Lee says, you would need a walk-in freezer for a Sasquatch body. What average Joe has that? No average Joe has that. But that might be another benefit to having a big walk-in cooler. Like, it wouldn't be a freezer, but if you keep it cool, it'll preserve it longer. So maybe you keep it in the walk-in cooler. And if you're someone who has one, maybe go in and ice it down every so often to keep it even colder than the cooler can go. But I didn't even mention that potential. I was just talking about hanging the goats up to eat them later. Yeah, exactly. He ain't no trouble. Has anyone else notifications been frozen for a day, not getting any new ones, and I've tried signing in again? I don't know. I haven't noticed anything different. I'm hiveless. Never had goat meat. Yeah, it's good eating. I guess it's not for everybody. Some people don't like it, I guess, but it's good meat. Lester says, Lockbeard, that was a joke. Read the Mary Green book, A Lifetime with Bigfoot. Oh, okay, gotcha. Daily Ann's The Good Stuff says, okay, I joined you on this one. It should go up now. Oh, yeah, did you really? Well, let me see what it does. I mean, it hasn't moved. I'll try refreshing. It's supposed to just happen live, but or maybe it takes a minute. I don't know, but it's supposed to happen like live. Now watch the video I put up today, Sasquatch Saturday. Now watch the video I put up today, Sasquatch Saturday. Is that the name of it? Mr. Lee says, Peter King has a large freezer in Sasquatch body. Yeah. So he says. Have you watched the video he did? There's a number of them that are obviously, where it's really... Some of them I can see how some people might be fooled and thinking he's serious. I guess. But if you watch enough of his videos, you'll see he's just a comedian. He's not trying to hoax anybody. It's just comedy. But like the one about it's titled Female Sasquatch on period in Farmer's Barn. I think it's kind of roughly what the name is. It's kind of gross. Imagine I could play part of it. It's gross, but it's obviously not real. It's obviously not real. So I don't know how anyone thinks he's a hoaxer, but yeah, it hasn't moved. It's supposed to be. YouTube's probably. I think YouTube is a couple people have said YouTube's unsubscribed them from me. So, Mr. Lee said I was on Peter King's live stream earlier. It lasted seconds. True though. So he had a live stream only for seconds. That old meat melts in your mouth. Yep. Jen's here. You're lucky we're even still on, Jen. Usually I would have popped off at 8, but CFB was just showing a kayak video, so I kind of hung around. We're waiting for the freaking subscription meter to go up. It's supposed to be live, but it even says up here in the corner, updating live, but I don't. That thing, look at that. Look at it. It leveled out. Like YouTube just said, nope, we're sticking at 113 or 112 for a long time. And a couple people said they've been unsubscribed and had to resubscribe. So YouTube's pulling some bullshit, like they do. Like they do. Danny says YouTube is slow on YouTube Studio. It says I have 4 more than reading on the channel. Huh. Mr. Lee says, I've been watching Kane for months. His dog train tips are great. Jen says, I got in from work. It was 113. It went 114, back to 113. Did it? I didn't even see it happen. Well, he said he subscribed from another account and it should have gone up, but Lester said, that's what she said. Just kidding. Don't kill me, Nikki. Oh, boy. In reference to her comment that old meat melts in your mouth. Yeah. So, yeah, but I don't think we're going to see that subscriber count jump up anytime soon. I mean, if Jen saw that, YouTube, I think they got me metered up somehow. Like, it's not letting me go. Look at that. It's just leveled right out. Damn. And people, like, who was it the other night, was pissed off because they were unsubscribed. YouTube did it. They didn't do it themselves. YouTube did it. So apparently I pissed off YouTube enough that they got me metered off to 113. Oh, look at that. It went down again. Look at that. Unless one of y'all unsubscribed just to check it. Hello, something to Sasquatch about. That might have been Nikki testing that. There it goes, back up to 113. Was that you, Nikki? She says she might do that. Anyway, that can't be natural right there. That's got to be. Oh, is that you, Brandy? Oh, now it's back down to 112 again. Did you do it again? So it's working. Yeah, Pat ought to pop that up on the screen every so often, and on his 12-hour marathon. No, I did that one. Sean did that one. Not again. Yeah. I think they metered me off or something there. Pissed off YouTube too much. Well, shoot. Whoops. Somebody's doing it again. I just tried sharing to Coalition for Critical Thinking and Facebook wouldn't let me. What the fuck? Yeah. Fucking Facebook sucks too, man. I've been trying to stay off there. It's nothing but trouble most of the time anyway. You wouldn't believe the bullshit I've had to deal with because of Facebook. You know, like my account now is not my original account. And there was all clusterfuck behind that. That involved the destruction of my career, and the feds showed up. Man, people don't like the truth. Mr. Lee says, Lockbeard, can you tell us what the future holds? I don't know, man. Your guess is as good as mine, maybe. I think. How far in the future are you thinking? I think humanity. If humanity doesn't get their shit straight and do very certain things going forward, we will go extinct. I'll say that. We are sitting ducks. Jen says you should look into Rumble. I think they have less controlling attitude. Well, I was trying. I can't remember what the problem was with Rumble, but there was a problem with Rumble. I can't remember exactly what it was, and I was trying Odyssey, but I can't because I need to be able to sync up this channel to the other platforms. Otherwise, I'm gonna have to I'm gonna have to upload all the videos. All these videos onto the channel on the other platform. Well, it's going to take forever. Especially with the Wi-Fi connections I got, it'll take for freaking ever. Like now, the sync up option you have for like BitChute and Odyssey is supposed to take days or even up to a week or whatever to happen. But it haven't been able to make it happen yet. Like BitChute was supposed to happen, and I haven't checked it in a couple days, but maybe it finally happened. But there's other problems I'm having with BitChute. Odyssey said they wouldn't do it because I don't have you have to have 300 subs, and something about the content has to be the right kind of content. I guess there's certain things they won't support. And you have to have adequate upload activity or videos happening. So I don't know about the other issues, but definitely don't meet the 300 sub qualification, so they won't sync up. I can't remember exactly what the problem was with Rumble, but Rumble was a problem because I was going to try. But at the moment, it looks like my best option is really BitChute to have as a backup to my YouTube channel. Sean says, I'm going to be a cyborg in the future. We might all be, and not by choice. They keep injecting random shit into us. Yeah, Rumble needs work. Yeah, I have to say it. I have to agree with that. Poor interactive capabilities. Yeah, we'll probably all be cyborgs against our will. They keep injecting crazy shit into us. Like that graphene oxide. Am I allowed to say that, YouTube? Am I allowed to say graphene oxide? Let's see if this gets deleted. It is in there, you dipshits. It's in there. Technology hates me. I'm lucky to do YouTube, Danny says. You seem to be doing all right. Jibbo says, in your opinion, what qualifies one to be on the Paranormal Council? Howdy, everyone. I think someone who has demonstrated that they can remain objective and logical about their assessments. You know, doesn't just accept a story that someone's told, no matter how pissed off they get when you don't say, "Oh yeah, I believe you." You know, you can't just believe everyone just because you think they might. Oh, he looked all right to me. He looked all right to me. He couldn't possibly be lying. Well, what are you, a 100% accurate lie detector? You know. So I don't know. It'd just be kind of a grading system, kind of looking for red flags. You know. But, you know, people that we've been watching for a long time that kind of demonstrated that they can do that they can remain objective, remain logical, not just accept shit that's being passed around as truth out there. So people like Steenberg, Leon, Curious Cryptid, you know. But, you know, and I was suggesting Pat's channel might be an option to be the channel to host it, because he already almost does host that in a way, just not is in the fashion I'm talking about, where we would have a, you know, a produced catalog of assessments, you know, specifically focusing on this person and that person, and start to build up a database, you know, and then maybe some people come in, challenge a previous assessment and petition for, you know, it to be revisited. You know, maybe they decide to go ahead and revisit a previous assessment, saying, "No, this person's all right." You know, maybe there's a process that can be put in place to handle that. You know, like someone says, "We don't like the fact that you gave Matt Johnson a straight up F. He's not lying about any of that shit. Prove it." Well, really, the burden of proof's on him, isn't it? He's the one making the claim. He claims Sasquatch are aliens that came through a portal, and he was able to operate the portal and help them. Somehow they couldn't do it on their own. They needed Matt Johnson to help them with that shit. And now he's the hero of an entire planet. Come on. Oh, man. That was crazy. That was wild. Wild. Yep. Oh, thank you, Mr. Lee. I'm kind of glad I did it too. Thank you, Lester. Well, we've already gone over an hour over the normal time. And I'm about ready to call her a night for the most part and get off of here. He has a special portal, yeah. And if you go down to his portal and you don't believe in the portal, you might not see it. Isn't that convenient? You got to actually believe it to see it. That dude was so full of shit. Anyway, yeah, Danny, good night to y'all. Thanks for coming by. Hopefully see you guys the next time. Take her easy.